Donnie, what are we doing? What are we talking about? No. I'm just kidding. I'm just checking.
Are we talking about DATs?
I think we're supposed to be talking about DNA in general.
Okay.
So that everybody here doesn't think we're an events company. Because every time I talk to somebody, people go, "Oh, you guys are not just an events company?"
DNA house.
All right, Scott, you're up.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So you want to start off, Scott, giving a little bit of history about DNA and where we came from?
That's a great idea. Thank you, Chris.
Sure, Scott.
So guys, for those of
Hold on
you...
1 second. There's way too much overacting going on right now. Go ahead.
For those of you who don't know the history of DNA, we started as a fund. We were an early stage crypto fund started by two friends who we loved Bitcoin, and we really wanted to create an ecosystem around Bitcoin. We fast forward into 2017, 2018. We decided to make a business out of it. We tried going public originally with an idea, and then 2018 happened. How many of you were here in this industry in 2018?
Oh, that's a lot.
Pretty much the whole room. So you remember...
You want people like me coming in, going forward.
You remember 2018. It was an interesting year, to be sure. And so little by little, we kind of grew up and we created an entire business around early stage investing. Fast forward to 2024, we decided to take DNA public for real this time. We brought our good friend Chris Miglino to help us relaunch DNA, and then through a series of interesting circumstances, we were talking to our bankers that were engaged to take DNA public, and he came to me and he said, "You know, I've got this friend. He's in my office. He's been retired for several years. He's the former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald." For those of you who don't know Cantor Fitzgerald, it's a pretty famous investment bank. They've been around for many years, billions and billions of dollars, and Sean Matthews grew the company from 2,000 or 3,000 employees up to over 10,000 during the 10 years that he was CEO. So, my banker was like, "Would you like to talk to him?" I'm like, "As a matter of fact, I would." The timing is great to take DNA from an early stage crypto fund into basically an investment bank for crypto. So please meet Sean Matthews, guys.
Hello all. Look, it's an amazing time in the space. We're actually coming after Galaxy. We're going to point at them. We're going to be number one in the space in financial services. The ability to build on a platform, right? That's the key thing here. You've got the DNA platform that's been around for a long time. It's been very merchant banking-like. We're now going to take that to the next level, make it a full-scale financial services firm, really be part of the ecosystem that I believe is kind of 1960s, 70s Wall Street mentality right now. It's all equity-based. It's really kind of spot trading thought process that's evolving right now and evolving pretty aggressively. The DATs were really about creating twofold things. One, it's allowing more people to invest in the space, but also creating liquidity. It's a liquidity arb and a financial engineering arb. So that is really interesting as well. credit rules the world. I said this at 1:30, I'll say it again, right? If you look at the liquidity characteristics of the space, it's really equity-based. It has to change, right? That's going to be a big component of how we drive the next layer of the business model. And the business model is really kind of taking an old school, traditional financial services firm, put it into the crypto ecosystem, and grow it aggressively. I mean, I've done it once. I'm going to do it again. I think it's fun, exciting, great partners. The ability to actually build on a franchise that has real long-term standing in the space. These guys know everyone, and that's important, right? This is a relationship business. Will always be a relationship business over time. So I'm excited about the opportunity. I certainly think that the next 10 years are going to be amazing in this space. We're still at the kind of the ecosystem's as big as NVIDIA right now, right? If you think about it, they're relatively, it's still small, right? Yet now you guys have all been here for a long time, so it's grown massively during that time frame, but it's still relatively small. So the next layer is going to get guys like me to come into this space, right? And that means traditional finance guys. That means, investor class that's actually thinking about putting money to work in the space. And everyone is trying to think about it right now, but it's still going to take some time, right? So we want to have a leading position in the space. We are going to grow this aggressively. We're going to be smart about it. And like I said, we will be the biggest financial services firm in this space by the time it's over.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's introduce Chris Miglino, the president of DNA, the co-founder, along with Brock and I. Chris, tell us all about yourself.
So I've been an entrepreneur since a kid, when I was mowing lawns in my neighborhood for $3.50, which seemed like a lot of money back then. And just been starting businesses all along. I've taken 3 different companies public. The last company that I took public was all focused around helping other public companies with their ecosystem and what they were doing. So we built the largest database of retail investors in the U.S. capital markets. So we have a database of like 10 million retail investors that are invested into different public companies. Not people that file anything, but unique individuals that maybe own 10 shares, 20 shares, 100 shares, 1,000 shares, 500,000 shares in a company. And Scott was an investor in this company along the way with us. And so we had a lot of background in helping put together public companies and creating public companies, and knew the road we needed to go down in order to get DNA ready to go public. And so we started down that road around a little bit over a year ago from now, and we've gotten to where we are today. In that process, the whole capital markets inside of crypto completely changed, right? Like when we first got here, everybody was coming for money to TGE, and now everybody wants $1 billion DAT. So, and the opportunity for $1 billion DAT is there, or we're taking the knowledge that we have around traditional finance and the traditional capital markets, and we're bringing in the relationships that we have with all of you guys and being really authentically connected with the community. We're not just a financial engineer that's like, oh, we're an investment bank that sees that there's this like hot trade to happen inside the crypto market, so we're going to go raise $500 million here and see what happens, make a commission, and then we're also off to raising money for a biotech company 5 minutes later. We're highly focused on this community. We know the community. I mean, if you ever hear the story that Scott tells about how DNA was started, founding Tether, early EOS, one of the main investors in EOS participated in the Ethereum initial sale. I mean, the story just goes on and on. When people hear this story, they're like, wow, well. You guys have done a lot of stuff in this space, and now it's about applying that connection with the community, which is really important, right? Like the connection with the community here is super important. That's why we do these events, is to make sure everybody gets together and can see that we care. They can feel that we're like engaged with everything that we're doing, and then bringing people like
Chris
Sean.
will be hugging everyone at the end of
Yeah, that's the goal, especially here. So, I mean, that's the goal, is to, you know, get the community together and make sure everybody knows that we're authentic in the space, and then apply our expertise to really go out and raise a lot of money. So now we're at a point where these digital asset treasuries, or, you know, that's what they're called now, but they'll move on to be called regular public companies for, you know, crypto-centric things, that's at the center of what we're seeing, and there's nobody better positioned than us to execute on that.
So I'll talk for another few minutes on digital asset treasuries and our investment thesis on these. So in the last 7 months, a little over $30 billion have been invested into DATs. It really obviously everybody knows it started with Michael Saylor and Bitcoin. But not long after that, Ethereum, Solana, a number of different, you know, what we would call blue chip, large-scale crypto projects have all launched digital asset treasuries. It's a really interesting, unique opportunity because Wall Street investors, and you know, as Sean was explaining, we think about our industry and how much it's grown, and you know, we look at it and we say, my God, you know, in these few years, we're $4 trillion. And then, you know, Sean and, you know, like Wall Street guys look at that and they say, NVIDIA is worth more than your whole industry. It's one company. And so it seems so crazy and so big to us, but it's really, really small. And so a lot of people today will tell you digital asset treasuries are a fad. They're going to come, they're going to go, they're going to crash and burn. I completely disagree. They said in 2017, ICOs are a fad. They're never going to happen again. In 2018, they died. But since 2020, over $100 billion and thousands of ICOs have continued to proliferate through the ecosystem in almost every country in the world. So digital asset treasuries are here. They won't all be $3 billion raises like Solana and Ethereum, Ether Machine, and you know, whatever the Solana one is. But small digital asset treasury deals are $100, $200 million. Medium-sized deals are $300, $400, $500 million, and the monsters are $1 billion plus. We're going to see more of these. We're going to see them throughout the NASDAQ. Then it'll creep down into the American. Then it'll creep down into the OTC. It's already in Canada. They're starting to see them in Korea, Japan, Germany. They're on exchanges all over the world. And I'm talking to founders right now. They launch a DAT in New York on the NASDAQ. A week later, they're in Frankfurt, you know, getting ready to list on the Frankfurt or the Berlin exchange, wherever these exchanges are. So the moral of the story is, if you're looking at investing in this space, look at DATs. They're really interesting. If you're looking at founding things, grow your business, make it big, make it successful, and then you can launch your token, take your token, and turn it into a DAT later, like what a lot of companies are doing now.
Yeah, look, and DATs are it's financial engineering in some ways, because you can get margin on stock. You can't get leverage. It's harder to get leverage on certain assets. but certainly in the marketplace, you can get margin on equity capital that is public. So I think those kind of thoughts will keep permeating, and they'll keep growing, right? And that's the key to this. It's how do we grow? The idea of DNA is going to be on the cutting edge of what's happening, right? And making sure that we're pushing the envelope, because this isn't that hard. We're not reinventing the wheel, right? We're going to look at how the world has acted in this space and kind of bring those thoughts into the crypto ecosystem. And that is going to be key to the next leg of growth. And that next leg of growth will then turn around and get more traditional people to come in, because leverage attracts people, and it always has and always will. So I think that's how we kind of look at the marketplace. And as I view the world, it's pretty simple. This is, again, 1960s, 1970s kind of thoughts in the traditional world. And I go back to what I said at 1:30. In 1990 something, Goldman Sachs was less than $1 billion of equity capital. Like, everyone perceives these companies to be massive in nature. They became massive over the last 25 years, but they were relatively small. And that's the interesting part. We can grow incredibly quickly. The ecosystem will grow incredibly quickly. And if we do it right, which we will, we'll become the leader in the space.
I think that a lot of people in this space think that this Wall Street is coming into our space and taking over, right? That you have these Wall Street bankers that are coming over, but that's not really what's happening. What it is we're letting them come in so that we can figure it out, and then we're turning it around, and we're going to end up owning the entire thing in our own way. Everything's going to be tokenized. NASDAQ is going to tokenize everything. The New York is going to tokenize everything. Everything is going to be tokenized ultimately, right? So this piece of the evolution of this is the Trojan horse for the crypto community that's going to explode inside the financial ecosystem.
I agree with that. Should we open it up to questions, or?
Yeah. But one thing I wanna bring up that I think is still the funniest and cutest thing in the world. In our world, assets trade 24/7, 365. In this new world of Wall Street, you wake up in the morning on Monday and the stock market is closed. And at sometime around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, honest to God, I don't know when, it recloses again until the next day. It's cute. I think it's a cute way to trade, but it's going the way of the dodo bird. It's going to be over. There will be 24/7 worldwide trading of stocks and bonds and crypto and tokens, and all of these different things are coming, and we're leading that.
Agreed. Should we open up? Any questions?
Sure.
Thank you. Firstly, I appreciate such an amazing discussion, and I've recorded it here for the future. Thank you, guys. Chris, you mentioned that everything is going to be tokenized. Could you please elaborate this point?
Well, NASDAQ already announced that they're starting to tokenize their all of the stocks on NASDAQ. That's coming out soon. That will trade 24 hours a day. So it's not going to be so cute anymore. So you're going to have to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning when your trade is down. You don't get to actually go to sleep at all. But I think everybody else is going to, and it's going to be global access. Every one of these securities is going to be tokenized. And the challenge that tokenized assets have right now is there's no liquidity anywhere on any of these exchanges that try to do them, so you can't trade them. But NASDAQ has liquidity. So if NASDAQ is open 24 hours a day, liquidity is there 24 hours a day. And that's That's inevitably coming. It's happening right now. And look at Kraken. Kraken is listing tokenized securities, right? And they bought NinjaTrader, right? One of the biggest stock trading platforms out there to integrate into their platform. They're mixing stock traders with crypto traders, putting it all together. It's all converging right now.
Yeah, and the system's really antiquated. So you've got two clearing banks in the U.S., right? J.P. Morgan and Bank of New York, which is crazy, right? They do all the clearing. And I keep going back to, learn from history. In the 70s, the exchanges were closed on Wednesday afternoon because they couldn't handle the paperwork. Yeah, remember, think about that. That's
a little siesta.
That's 50 years ago, right? So you kind of think about where the world is changing and morphing and moving.
Sean had already graduated college and was getting his first job on Wall Street back then.
Okay, let's be fair. We know who's older. But tokenization has to happen, right? It's the new rail. It's got to happen. It's going to be pretty amazing, and it really is kind of morphing that technology base into the crypto world and morphing everything together, right? We're there, right? So the next couple of years, you're going to see massive changes in how things get settled, how people, have their ownership. I mean, why do mortgages, go through 70 layers of paperwork, right? It makes no sense, right? Even just simple thoughts like that. So the world is definitely changing. Oh, you're back again.
No more. Hang on. Does anybody else have a question?
I'm still gonna ask you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So, this is a question, for any of you guys. So you have, Scott, you've mentioned that there will be, different tiers of, DAT where we can do, with different, digital assets. So right now we're seeing, massive trends, majorly in layer one infrastructures. And where do you see the opportunities for more of a startup or any of the crypto builders right now? We might be launching more of alternative tokens. Do you see any specific sectors that you see having a good opportunity of getting the AT as well?
Great question. So for early stage, we started investing in layer ones with Ethereum. And then we didn't really believe in Ethereum because we kind of were Bitcoin maximalists. So we started investing into other layer ones, trying to find the one that was going to beat Ethereum. It's a hard road. But I think less layer ones, more DEXs, quality projects that bring real world assets. These are the type of things that we're looking at from early stage that we see that have an opportunity to scale from early stage to funding to tokenization at some point to a DAT. So that's how we look at early stage investing still.
Hey guys, so with the DNA Deal Desk, we've seen the advent of launch pads taking over again. Now we have Legion, we have Cato with their leaderboard. We're seeing projects remove the caps of the ICO days and allowing for the community to come in, not necessarily under current regulations within the US, and you guys are working really hard to follow either the idea of the law or the future of what the law might stand for. But as we're seeing projects raising 60 times more than what their cap was, is this going to be the new meta of community fundraising in a regulated space, letting the common person come in with just $100 rather than the $1,000, $10,000, $25,000 check? Let the community in at the ground floor.
What do you think, Chris? That's a you.
Yeah. So we built the DNA Deal Desk just for that reason. And the idea was that everybody would be able to invest. And then they threw an American flag in our face. And they were like, you can't do that. You need to put all these rules on here. And you need to do all this stuff. And it's such a bummer and such a damper, right? You're like, well, can't we just do it over like everybody else is doing it illegally over here and just take all the money that we possibly can? So that, I think that there's an opportunity for that. Now we've gotten to the point where the international investors no longer need to go through any form of accreditation. They can just log in and raise money. And you know, we launched when we launched the Aetherdat that we just did. We raised almost $400 million for the Aetherdat. We put it on the deal desk, and in 3 days, tons of people invested into the project, even though they had to fill out the KYC. Right, even though they had to go through the process, and the DNA deal team was there approving people immediately as they were coming in, and international people were getting approved immediately. So I think that the U.S. rules, hopefully, in one day, will free us up so that we can do that in the United States, not only internationally. Where, look, if somebody's got $100 and they want to put it into a project, go for it, right? It's like, let them do it. It's not like we're forcing them to invest. You know, somebody could lose $1,000, $2,000, $20,000. If you have the money, you should be able to invest it, is my opinion. Hopefully we get there on the rules someday. But, you know, Sean is going to tell a story about compliance and rules and stuff like that. So you have to contend with these things.
It's not a fun story. No, the SEC is clearly moving in the right direction. I mean, the deregulation in the space is on. The Trump administration is clearly pushing for it. And there's no reason to see it changing. And one of the nice things is, once you actually establish something, it's very hard to go against the rules. You just build on the deregulation process that's in play.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate all of you for being here. If you missed out on the Goldman Sachs IPO or the Google IPO, the DNA one is coming soon. See all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.